nothing like the open road. And while I'm all about picking a spectacular destination, sometimes it's the journey that's the main event. The southern Oregon coast town of Brookings is about a 6-hour drive from Portland. And while the coastal hamlet is certainly worth the trip on its own, there's also plenty to see along the way. It's been a heck of a year for a lot of folks, myself included. We've had our ups and downs, some difficult times, but I like to hold close to some cautious optimism. And there's nothing like getting back to the outdoors to foster those positive feelings. To charge ahead, experience someplace new, capture that adventuresome spirit, and say, I'm back, baby. But then again, maybe I still need to take it slow for the time being.
What's up, Jayati?
Hey, Jim.
How are ya?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thanks.
Up and walking, I see.
On the move.
Yes.
1 week, give or take, post crutches here.
Right.
So, you ready to take me down to Brookings, if you will?
I'm always ready to go to Brookings.
All right, let's do
roll.
it.
I fractured a bone in my ankle back in May. And while I'm still a ways off from being 100%, my physical therapist has cleared me to walk in my fracture boot, giving me a chance to get around without my crutches. But I still can't drive, so friend and colleague Jayati Ramakrishnan agreed to take the wheel and show me around Brookings, a town she grew to love while working there several years ago.
All right, back seat for me. A little bit more comfortable, and Dave, our videographer, will hang out in the front. All right, so we're on the move, I-5 South, headed ultimately down to Brookings, where Jayati, you lived for, actually, when did you live there?
That was my first place that I lived after college. So my first job was at a small paper in Brookings. Was there for a couple years. And yeah, it's still really special to me. It was a great place to live. I had a lot of fun exploring the area, and it's just gorgeous.
You and I obviously work together a ton, and I've heard you talk about this place so much. What do you have on the list for us here these next 2 days?
You know, there's so much we could do, but I really wanted to hit a couple of places. So Brookings, to my knowledge, is the only place in Oregon with redwoods. So we're gonna hit the Oregon redwoods. And then not far from there, we are gonna also visit one of the largest myrtle forests, and it's really beautiful. And then we're also gonna hit the beach. You know, what's the point of going to the Oregon coast if you can't walk on the sand a little bit? So we're gonna check it out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you around.
All right, we are off the freeway, headed out to the coast.
Yep, so we just passed through the town of Drain, and we're going along the Umpqua River, so it's really a gorgeous scenic drive. We're gonna be on this highway for about an hour, and closer to the coast and past the town of Elkton. It's aptly named. There is an elk viewpoint, and I don't want to brag, but I have a 100% success rate of seeing elk there. Don't mess me up, Jim.
Yeah, well, hey, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
First things first, we had to test Jayati's elk streak. And wouldn't you know, it was soon as broken as a bone in my right ankle. We did see some elk nearby, however, so our streak was salvaged. And since we could practically smell the sea air at this point, we didn't waste any more time, jumping back in the car and down Route 38 to hook up with Highway 101.
We there yet, Jayati?
Nope, got another hour and a half. So we are on Highway 101. This is, like, in my opinion, the most beautiful part of the Oregon coast. It's really rugged.
I've never been this far south on the Oregon coast before, but I've heard great things about the rugged shoreline. And now that I've seen it for myself, I can say it definitely lives up to its reputation. Near Port Orford, for example, clusters of sea stacks rise out of the ocean. The wind whips over the sand and waves crash on the shore in a way that just feels a little more ferocious than up north. And while the southern coast is a popular place to visit, its distance from Portland means it's not usually as crowded as places like Cannon Beach or Seaside. It's easy to imagine that the dramatic ocean scenes playing out in front of you wouldn't have looked much different hundreds or even thousands of years ago.
So, Port Orford in the rear view, Brookings coming up soon.
Coming up soon. We've got about 25 miles to go. And what do you think so far?
I'm loving it, honestly. I mean, this is exactly what I was looking for because I shouldn't go far because of my foot. And I've seen a lot. We've seen a lot from the car here. It's been absolutely gorgeous.
This is the final stretch before we get to Brookings and some of the best views to come. For example, Thomas Creek Bridge, which is the highest bridge in Oregon.
I love it. We're hitting it at just the right time of day, too.
Yep.
So, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting hungry for some Thai food for dinner tonight.
I have been waiting all day.
At long last, we were in Brookings, but we weren't quite done driving yet. After a quick stop at Jayati's favorite Thai restaurant to pick up dinner, we had about another 8 miles to go to Alfred A. Loeb State Park, where we'd be camping for the night.
Well, here we are. We're in Brookings, Oregon, or 8 miles up the river from it. So we are along the Chetco River and got some food at my favorite Thai restaurant. Looks like something's leaking, but
all right.
we're gonna make it work.
All right, let's do it.
The food was great and made for a satisfying meal after our long day on the road. We set up our tents as darkness fell and turned in. It wasn't the kind of tired I'm used to after a day of climbing or skiing, but I was definitely ready for bed and looking forward to what Jayati had planned for the next day.
What do you have in store for us today?
So right now we're driving back into town and we're gonna go hit my favorite breakfast spot in Brookings. And then after that we're gonna come right back up and hike a couple of short trails, the Myrtlewood forest and the Redwood Trail, which are both really close to or kind of in the same place where we just camped.
Cool.
After another excellent meal, we retraced our steps back along the Chetco River toward the entrance of a hiking path that seemed like something my ankle could handle.
All right, so is this is time for my mobility test?
It's time for us to do the only physical activity we're gonna do on this outdoor focused trip.
Oh, very good.
So we are now at the Myrtlewood Grove. This is a much more gentle trail.
You've picked one that fits my current state of being here.
Yeah, and then after we complete this trail, we're gonna ditch Jim and I'm gonna go walk in the redwoods.
While this hike was a literal walk in the park, it was a major milestone for me. My first time being back on my feet, active in the outdoors in over 2 months. The familiar forest landscape felt especially meaningful after my time away, and the myrtle trees and views of the Chetco River made for a serene, picturesque return to the trail. With a little help from Jayati at the end of our hike, I'd made it through my longest walk since my injury, and I felt great.
All right, last step, here we go.
Got it?
Yep, all right.
Okay.
There we go.
All right.
All right. Okay, that was a good first hike in the boot. Probably shouldn't be hiking in the boot, but that was more of a walk. I think though I'm gonna sit out the redwoods because probably shouldn't do any more.
Well, I am gonna go take a walk through the redwoods.
Yeah, I think you should.
You relax.
The Redwood Nature Trail is a loop of just over a mile and a bit under 300 feet of elevation gain. While the trees aren't as huge as California's redwoods, they're still spectacular and are among the tallest trees in Oregon. Jayati visited them when she lived in the area and was happy to return. Meanwhile, I was happy to sit this one out. The trail is gorgeous, crisscrossing a stream and featuring ferns, Doug firs, and rhododendrons, in addition to the majestic redwoods. We met back at the car and headed to Brookings once again for the last stop of our trip. We'd still barely spent any time at the beach itself, and Harris Beach State Park has one of the best in the state.
I will say I'm ready to be done getting in and out of the car in like the super boot right now. But the glory.
Welcome to Harris Beach.
Harris Beach.
So this is our last stop on our South Coast tour.
Ooh,
so,
kind of sad.
Yeah, Harris Beach is a really popular spot. I read recently that there's like 1 million visitors here a year, and
Yeah.
I believe it.
That is not surprising.
It is a popular spot, and it's that way for a good reason. There's tide pools, wide sandy beaches to kind of sit and hang out for the day, some good walking trails. It really has it all.
So this is our last stop on the Southern Oregon tour, and a fitting spot to end it. I mean, this is gorgeous.
You were hitting all the highlights, I think.
All the highlights I can hit.
All you can. And I think even if you were more
Yeah.
mobile, I would still have taken you to a lot of these spots. Maybe we would have walked around a little more, climbed some rocks and whatnot. But I think you have really gotten a good overview of what this area has to offer.
Yeah, I've gotten a flavor for it, definitely gained an appreciation for it, and kind of the rugged Southern Oregon coast rings true, and I'm pretty excited about it, so thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime.